You're watching the Onion News Network, the most watched cable news network since the dawn of the dinosaurs.
We're just a few days from Halloween, but we'll be donning our goblin masks and sexy witch costumes with a heavy heart. For one of the Onion News Network's most revered journalists passed away last night. Hold high your torches, for tonight we send him to Newsman's Valhalla. I'm Brooke Alvarez, and you're entering the Fact Zone. Good evening. We begin tonight by paying tribute to one of the greatest journalists of the 20th century. As you've no doubt heard, last night we lost an irreplaceable member of the Onion News Network family, legendary newsman Brandon Armstrong. Armstrong started as a cub reporter at the Onion newspaper during the 1950s, making a splash with his dispatches from the civil rights movement. He was one of the few reporters on the scene when Saigon fell.
Hordes of South Vietnamese are converging around the embassy, hoping to be spared the brutal retaliation, sure to come at the hands of the Viet Cong. I myself am preparing to depart. I've already loaded one helicopter completely full of souvenirs for friends back home, and had to reserve a second helicopter for myself and the woman I'm currently sleeping with.
And Brandon often became a part of history himself, as evidenced in the Nixon tapes subpoenaed during the Watergate investigation.
The very few friends, and they're goddamn few, we have in the press. That's just too goddamn bad, isn't it? For Christ's sakes, it's worth it if you have to, eat crow and shit and everything else.
Well, Dick, you're preaching to the choir over here. Listen, bomb the shit out of whoever you need to bomb the shit out of. That's what I say. You're the goddamn president. They're a bunch of goddamn hippie-free queers.
He reassured the nation in times of tragedy, as seen in his coverage of the Challenger disaster.
This proves what the Onion News Network has been saying for 2 decades now. Man was not meant to leave planet Earth.
And during triumph, like when the Berlin Wall fell in 1989.
And these people of East Berlin are finally tasting freedom, like the freedom to purchase any quality goods they want on the free market, such as the Onion News Network brand blue jean, the only blue jeans that have the word freedom right on the tag.
Brandon had unprecedented access to the corridors of power. Whether he was horseback riding with Ronald Reagan, playing tetherball with Jimmy Carter, or tag-teaming a co-ed with Bill Clinton, nobody was closer to the nation's presidents. Brandon was on the scene of the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil.
An airplane has just struck the North Tower. I want to advise the financial arm of the Onion News Network to buy gold and oil interest immediately. I repeat, buy gold and oil. Oh my God, another plane has just struck the World Trade Center. For the love of God, drop tech stocks now, or we're all going to take a bath on this thing.
Sadly, Brandon was killed last night in a brothel fire in the Czech Republic while finishing work on part 412 of his 500-part series on the Eastern European sex trade. He really cared about those girls. You know, Tucker, it's a shame you never got to meet Brandon. You would have learned what it feels like to be a cockroach in the shadow of a lion.
Well, I can only imagine. It's enough for me just trying to fill the shoes of the previous Tucker Hopes.
Yeah, don't worry. We've had 9 Tucker Hopes so far, but most people can't even tell the difference.
Well, nothing new to me there. I do have 4 identical brothers.
Oh, Tucker, by the way, I'm throwing a little party to celebrate my new status as a single woman. I'm going to put out some cups, crank up the German opera music, smash expensive liqueur bottles. Sure hope you'll be there.
Well, the thing is that my brothers and I are dressing up as characters from Game of Thrones, and my costume it wouldn't make sense without...
That's fine. Bringing them along is fine.
Okay. All right, then I'll see you there. I will be the front half of Daenerys Targaryen's dragon.
Okay. Thank you,
It's the
Tucker.
green one.
Thank you, Tucker.
All right. Thank you, my Khaleesi.
Well, as much as I'm looking forward to Halloween, not everyone is. The Onion News Network's own Shelby Cross weighed in on the dangerous annual tradition of trick-or-treating. Let's take a look at this clip from tonight's cross-examination.
It is time to stop gift wrapping our children and hand delivering them to the predators among us. Yep, I'm talking about Halloween, the pedophile's Christmas. A little investment in some cheap candy and suddenly your neighborhood pervert is drowning in a winter wonderland of young flesh. And you know he has been looking forward to this for months. He spends money on fancy decorations to entice your unknowing children into his rape lair. But let me ask you one question, parents. What would you do if a man came over to your house on any other day with a greasy bucket of fun-sized Snickers and he says, hey, I'll give your son one of these if he dresses up like a little cowboy? You would blow his privates off with a shotgun. So why do you let your kids go over to that same creep's house just because the calendar says October 31st? So what should you do? Now, when a kid rings your doorbell, you invite him in, and then you keep them there safely until morning. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Hey, kids don't wanna spend the night in my basement. There's candy out there to collect. But that's why I carefully open up the snack-sized candy bars. I give them a dusting of sedative, and then the kids go out like a light, and they don't wake up until the danger's over. Now, part of my campaign this year, I've been running this little commercial after school and on Saturday mornings. Jeff, can we run this? Hi, kids. This is Shelby Cross. It's Halloween, and that means candy and costumes and games. But it shouldn't mean getting fingered by a lecherous neighborhood pervert. Be safe and never trick or treat door to door. There's no reason for anything bad to happen to you if you just listen to Shelby.
Oh, that hurt.
Just listen to Shelby.
All right, thanks, Shelby. Well, after weeks of debate about a new round of corporate tax cuts, today in Washington, President Obama finally struck a deal with Republicans, allowing them to kick him in the balls in exchange for nothing. For some quick analysis of this historic decision, let's go over now to the first responders. Today, we have joining us Nancy Fitchlander, Duncan Burge, and David Berrydale, whose opinions are sponsored by Acura. So, guys, who won here? Who lost? David, let's start with you.
I think Obama really came out on top here. He wanted an expiration date for these tax cuts. Boehner said no. He eventually negotiated the Republicans down to kicking him in the balls, and he didn't get anything at all.
Okay, but it wasn't exactly an unqualified win, was it?
Well, no. Obama doesn't get anything that he asked for, and they are going to kick him in the balls again and again very hard. But the point is that a deal was struck at all.
The real issue here is not Obama and his balls. It's the Republicans, all right? And they really lost out on this deal.
Okay, how so, Duncan?
Well, they could have gotten, should have gotten, a bill that allows them to kick Obama in the testicles around the clock, day and night. But instead, they just settled for kicking him when he's awake?
The
that's not a
American
win.
people want Obama kicked in the balls in his sleep.
Yes.
A democracy is about compromise, all right? Obama wants to end the tax cuts. The GOP says no. Pull down your pants. We want to kick you straight in the balls. Yeah. Obama says okay. You see, it's a give and take.
If I were in charge, it'd be all take.
Okay, guys. But what about the so-called ball-kicking machine that the bill requires to be installed crotch level under the desk of Obama in the Oval Office? Now, critics are saying it's just too expensive.
It's way too expensive. It
A
takes away from
person can kick a man in the balls better than a machine.
Okay, but Obama did release a statement earlier this morning about the ball kicking, and it said, quote, oh shit, oh God, ah.
Oh, come on. America's tired of Obama's rhetoric.
It's true. This is classic Obama. I mean, he's there on the floor clutching his decimated crotch while America is crumbling around him. Just get up and let some people kick you in the balls.
Of course, but I mean, he needs to understand how politics works. I believe it was Patrick Henry who said, the tree of liberty needs to be occasionally kicked in the balls by patriots.
No, that wasn't Patrick Henry. That was John Adams.
Want to bet?
Hells yeah. Loser gets kicked in the balls.
Works for me.
All right, guys. Well, sorry to inform you, but the quote was actually by Samuel Adams, so it looks like you're both getting kicked in the balls. Nancy, want to do the honors?
It's a pleasure. I'm going to enjoy this.
Oh, this is going to hurt, but at least I can soothe myself thinking about Acura's optional blind spot information system.
Well, we need to take a quick break now, but first let's take a look at tonight's Fact Zone Instapoll question. What do you think of the federal government's decision to turn Detroit into a national haunted house? Log on to OnionNewsNetwork.com right now and vote. You're back in the Fact Zone. I'm Brooke Malzberez, and we have a... I'm sorry. I thought I could get through this. It's really me, Brooke Alvarez. I was just disguised as a mouse. Okay, now Jane Carmichael has the latest for us from Washington. Jane, will you be coming to my party this weekend? I rented a fog machine like I saw in a report on Club Drugs. We can all stand around in the fog. It'll be fun.
I'm sorry, Brooke. I'm going to be spending Halloween with my mother. She's not doing very well, and I...
Well, you're going to miss all the fun then when we're doing the Mashing Monster, but it's your choice, Jane. Go ahead. Take it away. Give us your story.
Are Republicans deliberately trying to obstruct government business to hurt Obama's re-election chances? In Washington, Democrats charge Republicans with trying to do just that through their recent tactic of speaking and moving in slow motion. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, however, denied the accusations this afternoon in a 95-word statement that took him more than 3 hours to read, followed by a question and answer session that went on for another 5 hours until reporters became frustrated and left. Beltway insiders began to notice that Republican members of the House and Senate were slowing things down last week during Representative John Haller's argument against Obama's proposed tax increase.
This bill will kill jobs.
Democrats maintain that this is, quote, just the latest ploy by Republicans to derail the president's agenda at America's expense, pointing to previous methods such as going limp during committee hearings.
No, he's doing it again. Congressman Haley.
I can't. You'll have to help me.
This is absurd. Someone prop Congressman Haley up in his seat so he finishes, please.
Whoops.
Republicans counter by saying they're just taking their time with the esteemed business of government. They also accuse the Democrats of hypocrisy, pointing to the fact that during the Bush administration, Democrats insisted all bills be read aloud in both English and Latin.
Providimus enim prorogation facta appropriata. How do you say this one?
And used laser pointers to distract committee chairmen.
Stop that! Stop it! Those things make you blind if you get shot in the eye.
Vice President Biden has urged his congressional colleagues to counteract Republican stall tactics by doing a bunch of speed because he thinks he knows a guy who can get some. Brooke?
Thank you, Jane. And let me know if you change your mind about the party. I have a banana costume that would fit you perfectly and really bring out your natural hunch.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's time now to fix Fact Zone's scope on the Northeast. It's now been 7 days since a group of hikers went missing in Maine's Acadia National Park, but rescue crews there are still holding out hope of finding them alive. Autistic reporter Michael Falk is on the scene there. Michael.
Hello, Brooke. My socks got wet. That cameraman gave me new socks. I am fine.
All right, that's good, Michael, but what's the situation there?
Situation. The names of the hikers are Casey Allman, Brian Emery, Ashley Thorson. The hikers were last seen 174 hours ago. Since then, 3 very big storms have hit here. There's a 1.24% chance that all of the hikers are alive. There's a 3.87% chance that 1 or more of the hikers are alive. I talked to a man. Watch that video now. Why are you looking for the hikers?
Well, we're still hopeful that we might be able to find them. There's been a break in the weather, so we're hoping that.
Over the past 7 days, the average high temperature has been 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Over the past 7 days, the average low temperature has been 6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right. So we did another sweep of the park from the air, but we didn't see anything.
Without shelter, the human body can withstand temperatures this cold for a maximum of 3 hours. Is there shelter in the forest for the hikers?
Not that we know of.
They're frozen.
Well, we like
Shh. They're frozen. Many people are looking for the hikers and saying that they are alive, but that is impossible. It is confusing. That is a helicopter. A CH-146 Griffin helicopter. Helicopter. I talked to another man who is looking for the hikers. It is unlikely that the hikers' bodies have left Acadia National Park.
That's right.
I have found the hikers. The hikers are dead here in Acadia National Park. I am now part of the news story because I am the one who found the hikers. I am Michael Falk reporting on Michael Falk. Goodbye. Even though I found them, the rescuers say they will keep looking for the hikers because some people think that knowing where dead bodies are is better than not knowing where they are, even though we know where they are. They're over there. I am Michael Falk.
I've always wanted to die by freezing. It's peaceful, and my corpse would be perfectly preserved for all time. All right, some news now on the economy. Following the release of this month's anemic jobs report, financial analysts say they finally figured out the reason for the high unemployment rate. An Illinois resident named Jim Richmond, who's been working 42,000 jobs since early 2009. Richmond works at 46 Walmart locations, drives a school bus, is the CEO of the Oracle Corporation, works as a nursing home attendant, is a commercial lobster fisherman, gives piano lessons, and holds more than 41,000 other positions. He says that he doesn't understand where all the talk of the sluggish job market comes from.
Why does everyone have such a hard time finding a job? I mean, just today I found 3 more jobs during my lunch hour. Look, I gotta finish up these potholes before I make a diplomatic trip to South Korea for my U.S. ambassador job.
And though people have accused Richmond of giving many of his jobs short shrift, his 42,000 bosses have nothing but positive things to say about him.
Jim's a great employee. He worked a double shift on ladies' night, and he still made it on time to do his scene in an adult film. I've seen his work. He's good.
Richmond has rejected calls to give any of his jobs to unemployed Americans because he has 270,000 mortgages to pay. And we should also point out that Jim is one of our camera operators here in the Fact Zone, and a damn fine one at that. Keep up the good work, Jim. Okay, let's turn our all-seeing eye now on Pennington, Illinois via our local affiliate, WONN5.
Well, folks, look who came crawling back to Pennington.
That's right, Jeff Statsky. Just 4 years after leaving town to make it as a songwriter and musician on the East Coast, Mr. Hot Shit himself, Jeff Statsky has returned. Locals are simply stunned that Mr. Ambition himself would deign to move back to Pennington, the town he once said, quote, wasn't big enough for his music.
Oh, King Fancy Pants Statsky didn't become a big famous singer. Gee, what a shocker.
I bet this wasn't part of his big plans when he broke up with Bethany or whatever and left town to go chase his big dreams. Welcome back, Bagsky.
Tuffy's Bar is even planning a welcome home party for the would-be Bob Dylan.
We got a nice cushioned stool for his precious little East Coast ass.
Hey, Jeffy boy, we got the radio on. We're still waiting to hear that big song of yours. Where is it?
Local business owners say Statsky might have just as hard a time finding work here in Pennington as he did when he was trying to be a dainty little songsmith in Coolsville.
Oh, sure, I could set him up with a job, no sweat. Oh, wait, come to think of it, we don't have any openings right now for tambourine-shaking pansies who got dick-slapped by the big city.
And Sheriff Stevens says he's making sure that Jeff finds out firsthand the meaning of small-town justice.
I've written him up 4 times this week for speeding, loitering, disturbing the peace. You gotta keep your eyes on these big city degenerates. Hey, Jeff, do they have those electric light bulbs on the streets back east? Do they have indoor plumbing, or do they just crap on the streets like we do here?
According to a friend of Jeff's mother, little rock star wannabe apparently decided to come crawling back after his longtime girlfriend committed suicide.
Well, maybe that'll give him something to write about.
Prick. What a nice story there about, well, I'm not going to pretend I watched that. Okay, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Brooke Alvarez, where I'm tweeting my personal memories of the late Brandon Armstrong. And speaking of, let's go out now to a commercial by looking at one of the high points from a career paradoxically made up completely of high points.
The Khmer Rouge is slaughtering thousands of innocent civilians. I have never seen anything like this. The brutality, the evil, the unlikely acts of heroism. This would make a spectacular motion picture for a Hollywood producer looking for their next project. Perhaps it is the story of a seasoned journalist who stands up to the Khmer Rouge, saving an entire village, including a buxom Cambodian maiden. And I'm sure if we all came together, we could get Paul Newman to commit to this. Now, I want to talk about the sequel.
And we are getting word this hour that President Kennedy has, in fact, died. Vice President Lyndon Johnson will be sworn in today aboard it. Is that a bird? You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. There's a bird loose in the Onion News studio. I'll be damned. Who ever heard of such a, where is he?
Another great moment in the life that was Brandon Armstrong. Okay, let's get the latest Hollywood scoop now from Angelique Clark in tonight's edition of Star Fix. Hi, Angelique. Hey, Brooke. Can't wait to see you tonight at my party.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'll be there.
Hey, would you mind coming over a little early and maybe helping me with the decorating? People do that, right, for these kinds of things?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I was thinking of getting some tinfoil strips to hang and also maybe renting a live bat.
Oh, yeah, I'll try to come.
No, do it. We need some girl time.
Okay. Well, Paramount Studio executives are reporting that there have been costly delays on the set of the new romantic comedy Three's a Crowd after hackers shut down star January Jones. The Mad Men beauty reportedly began malfunctioning yesterday afternoon, spouting garbled gibberish and programming code. This audio from set was leaked to BuzzFinder Online earlier today.
I like them equally and dislike them equally. Interaction, I've won season 1. I've won 60 Betty Draper.
Can somebody fix this?
1-2-2B.
Miss Jones was eventually taken offline and her head shipped back to the manufacturer for inspection. And now over to TV land, where the billionaire who has single-handedly kept Chuck on the air announced that he will end the show after this season. For the past 4 years, shipping magnate Albert Halsworth has been known as the only regular viewer of the NBC action comedy, pouring millions of dollars of his personal fortune into keeping it afloat for his own amusement. But in a statement earlier today, Halsworth said he felt this season was a good point to wrap up the Chuck storyline.
If I had anyone in the world to talk to about Chuck, I might keep it around a little longer, but being the sole viewer is getting a bit lonesome. I think I shall be done with it.
In a related story, Halsworth says he will keep Minute to Win It on the air a while longer, since watching it seems to comfort his mentally retarded son. Brooke?
Oh, thank you, Angelique. We have to take a short break right now, but in the meantime, tweet me your reaction to the recent poll that shows Americans are furious at Washington lawmakers for listening to them. What's wrong? Are you worried that the Fact Zone won't come back for you? Don't worry, we'll be back in a moment. Pull up your swim trunks. It's time to do a cannonball into the truth pool. You're back in the fact zone. Let's look now at what you think about the new poll that shows Americans would rather lawmakers stop listening to them. At Plus X79 says, just do your jobs and stop trying to guess what we're telling you to do. Well, the Onion News Network has been inundated with tributes from colleagues of our beloved Brandon Armstrong, like this message we got from Charlie Rose.
Brandon Armstrong had a profound impact on my career. He is the one who came up with the idea to make the background of my studio completely black. Originally, I was going to make it swirly neon tie-dye with a lot of glitter, moving lights, and a couple of disco balls. Occasionally, flames would shoot up, and there would be animals. Brandon Armstrong taught me everything I know about reporting the news.
Now, in his will, Brandon asked that his ashes be spread over Loch Shiel in his beloved Scotland. But we decided to do him one better and spread those ashes right here in the Fact Zone set. Tucker?
Here he is.
All right, Tucker, it's not a he, it's a lump of dust. Okay, let's do it then. Goodbye, Brandon. Okay, Tucker, clean this mess up. That's all from the Fact Zone. Close the doors behind you when you go. We don't want to let any truth escape.